Hey guys, Tez here, and I'm finally back, doing commentaries for you guys. I'm gonna take this video kind of just to explain what's happened over the last few days, if you haven't kind of noticed or anything. But obviously my upload amounts went down, but that was basically because I was in Liverpool at my nan and pop's house, and the internet there isn't as good as it is at home, so it was taking a lot longer to upload. And I was kind of quite busy anyway, so I wasn't really focusing on trying to do this. But anyways, yeah, so I went up to Liverpool on Saturday morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning. Took us 3.5 hours to drive there, so we got there for about 10:30, 11:15, and basically I was there for my pop's funeral, and that was on the Monday. Got there on the Saturday afternoon, kind of absolutely exhausted. I hate travelling in cars, and we were in a car for about 3.5 hours. But we got there, kind of just had some lunch when we got in, just didn't do much for the rest of the day, just hung around the house, kind of spoke to everyone because my Uncle Paul and my dad were there, and then my Uncle Mark turned up later. But we kind of just mosed around the house for the rest of the day, didn't really do much, watched a bit of TV, just chilled out really. And then Sunday was the day that we kind of had to get a few things done. Me and my dad and my Uncle Paul, we went out and got 2 cars valued for the solicitor, because they're kind of splitting the inheritance, or everything that my nan and pop owned. They're splitting equally 3 ways for my Uncle Paul, my Uncle Mark and my dad. So we had to get the value of the cars and stuff so that we kind of knew how much they were worth. So we did that. I think that was around like lunchtime or something. But then we came back, just a few people came over, we said hello and stuff, and then that was about it. Just watched some TV, ate some dinner, and then it was Monday. And on Monday, I stayed in bed quite a long time. I think I got out like half an hour before we had to go. And then I got all ready for the funeral. I put on my black shirt, black trousers, black jumper, black tie, black shoes. You know, the normal stuff that you'd wear for a funeral. And yeah, so we got in this limo car thing. And then we had, is it the hearse? I think it's called a hearse. We had like a hearse with the coffin in front of us. And because my nan and pop lived at the top end of a road called Fernhill Road, and the church was at the bottom end of that road, we didn't have long to go in the car. So we got in the car, we drove down the road, got out the car at the church, and then we had like the service for my pop. And that was really nice service, and it went all good. And then after that, we got back into the car and followed the hearse again, and we went to the crematorium. For those that don't know what the crem is, that's basically where you get burnt and turned into ashes, and then with the ashes you can like scatter them wherever you want. But yeah, so we went there for the service at the crem, and that was nicer as well. And it was really weird because about 4 or 5 weeks before, we were at the creme for my nan, and because we did exactly the same for my nan as we did for my pop. And when we were just finishing up with the service in the creme, and the kind of the curtains closed, and that was it, like I'd never be able to see my nan or the coffin ever again. There was this massive gust of wind, and it wasn't really spooky, but it was really eerie how that just a massive gust of wind just came through as everything was closing. So that was kind of a bit weird and random, and I was like, ooh. And then kind of something similar happened when we were just finishing up the service for my pop. The curtains were closing, and we started to play the song, like the final song, and the sun came out. The sun came out at the start of the song, and it stayed for the entire thing. And then just as the song finished, the sunlight went away again, and it went back to a gloomy day, and it went all cold again. But a lot of you, or quite a lot of people, would just say, oh, it's just coincidence, blah 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 blah. And yeah, I kind of think it is coincidence, but it's nice thing to think that, well, it happened for a reason. But oh well. So we finished up at the creme, and the curtains closed and everything, and that was all that. And then we went to like this, I think it's called a village hall or something like that. It used to be a school, and then they changed it to like a place where you have events and things. And all the family kind of got together there. There was like buffet food and stuff like that, and just everyone was talking and just speaking to each other kind of as you normally would. Just reminiscent, I guess, on times and stuff. There was a few photos that got passed around, and it was just an overall really nice time. Well, apart from the fact that I don't have a nan or pop anymore, but it was a nice send off for my pop, and my nan's one was just the same. It was really nice. And then we kind of packed up some of the food and stuff, like this massive chocolate cake and a massive apple pie that wasn't eaten. Took that back to my nan and pop's house, which is still just up the road. The creme was in a different place of Liverpool, or part of Liverpool, but the church and the village hall where we kind of had a little get together was at the bottom of the road. But yeah, after that was all done and dusted, I think we were at the village hall for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, maybe more, until everyone had left, because we couldn't go until others had gone, obviously. And then we got back to my nan and pop's house about 7 o'clock. And the whole thing started about 1:30. But we got back at about 7 o'clock, and I was exhausted. I was absolutely knackered, and I don't really know why, because it wasn't really a hard day. I think it was more just an emotional day, so that was kind of difficult. Got home, I was absolutely exhausted, stayed up for a little bit watching some TV, and then I went to bed about 10, half 10, something, fell asleep, woke up the next morning, and we were back in the car to come home at about 11, and then we got in the car, we drove home. It was worse on the way home, to be honest. It was windy, and we have a little car, so it was kind of, my mum was feeling the effects of the wind on the car and being blown about the place a little bit, but we got home. It took about 3.5, 4 hours to get home. There was no food in the house, we were absolutely starving, and we had to go to the co-op on the way home. So yeah, I was absolutely exhausted last night as well, so I kind of didn't really do much. I think I was just watched TV for like 2.5, 3 hours, came upstairs, didn't feel like doing anything still, had on the Xbox and just chilled for about half an hour. But I thought I'd put out a commentary just to let you guys know I'm back, and I will be getting back to regular uploads, and I'll speak to you next time, guys. Thanks for listening, and yeah, peace.